Iran dominates the headlines: Middle East tensions, nuclear threats, proxy warfare, and alliances that seem one step away from global conflict. But what if the true story of Iran, ancient Persia, was written long before modern politics even began? You won't need secret intelligence reports to uncover it. You'll find it written in the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. Today, we'll trace Persia's prophetic path, a nation once used by God to restore his people, and one that may one day rise again in the final conflict of history. Open Book 1. The Biblical Origins of Iran, Persia. The name, Iran, doesn't appear in the Bible, but its ancient name, Elam, does. In Genesis chapter 10 verse 22, Elam is listed as a descendant of Shem, one of Noah's sons. This makes Elam part of the foundational nations of humanity. And historically, the people of Elam settled in what is now southwestern Iran. Elam appears again in Genesis chapter 14, where King Chedorlaomer of Elam leads a military alliance that attacks Canaan and captures Lot, the nephew of Abraham. This event forces Abraham to raise a small army and rescue his family, marking Elam as an early military power in direct contact with God's chosen people. Fire 2. Prophetic words about Elam in the Old Testament. Jeremiah chapter 49 contains one of the clearest prophecies concerning Elam. I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 35. The bow symbolizes military strength, and this prophecy foretells the dismantling of Elam's power. But then, in verse 39, God says, "Yet I will restore the fortunes of Elam in the latter days." Judgment and mercy, both are revealed. God's justice never comes without his promise of redemption. Crown 3. Cyrus, a pagan king anointed by God. In Isaiah chapter 45, the Lord calls a foreign ruler, Cyrus of Persia, his anointed one. That Hebrew word is Mashiach, the same word we translate as Messiah. While Cyrus was not a believer in the God of Israel, God still chose him to fulfill prophecy. In 539 BC, Cyrus conquered Babylon and allowed the Jewish captives to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, just as the prophet Isaiah had written more than 150 years before. This is divine sovereignty at work. God uses even those who don't know him to accomplish his purposes. Crown 4. Esther and Nehemiah, when Persia defended God's people. The book of Esther takes place within the Persian Empire. A royal official plots to destroy the Jewish people. But Queen Esther, a Jewish orphan, risks her life to stop him. Through her bravery, a genocide is averted. Later, in the book of Nehemiah, we see another Persian king, Artaxerxes, granting permission and resources to rebuild Jerusalem's walls. Once again, God uses Persia not to harm his people, but to protect and restore them. Crossed Swords 5. Persia in the End-Time Prophecies, Ezekiel chapters 38 to 39. In Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, we find the terrifying war of Gog and Magog, a massive coalition of nations attacking Israel. And Persia is listed among the attackers. But the prophecy makes clear, God himself will intervene. With earthquakes, hailstones, and divine fire, the Lord will defend his people, not with earthly armies, but by his own hand. This is not just a military prophecy, it's a revelation of God's glory. Wave 6. The Euphrates River and the Final Invasion, Revelation. In Revelation chapter 16, an angel pours out a bowl upon the Euphrates River, causing it to dry up and prepare the way for the kings of the east. Iran lies directly east of Israel, and its proximity to the Euphrates makes its inclusion in this prophecy highly plausible. Revelation chapter 9 speaks of 4 bound angels at the Euphrates being released to unleash judgment. Whether literal or symbolic, the Euphrates is a key marker in end-time prophecy. Could these ancient visions be pointing to a future role for Iran in global conflict? Latin Cross 7. Yet, there is still hope. Despite the warnings of judgment, the Bible offers hope. Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 39 promises the restoration of Elam in the latter days. Could we be witnessing this today? Reports from within Iran say Christianity is growing faster there than almost anywhere else. In secret house churches and through dreams and visions, Iranians are turning to Jesus, often at great personal cost. This is not political revival. It is spiritual awakening. It is exactly the kind of restoration Jeremiah spoke about. Folded hands outro. The story is not over. From Genesis to Revelation, Persia, Iran, is not just a background nation. It is woven into the prophetic fabric of Scripture. It begins as Elam, a descendant of Shem, rises to power under Cyrus, anointed to rebuild the temple, defends the Jews in the time of Esther and Nehemiah, then appears as a prophetic enemy in Ezekiel and Revelation. It is a story of calling, betrayal, and, yes, redemption. Even in the darkest chapters, God speaks light. Even as armies form and threats rise, God is working in the hearts of people, restoring, calling, saving. Let us not be afraid of prophecy. Let us be awake, and let us be ready. Because one day soon, every nation, including Iran, will bow before the King of Kings. They will make war on the Lamb, and the Lamb will conquer them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. Revelation chapter 17 verse 14. If this message opened your eyes or stirred your heart, checkmark like this video. Memo comment your thoughts, judgment, revival, or both? TV subscribe for more Bible prophecy deep dives. And above all, pray for the people of Iran. Pray for the persecuted church. Pray for the fulfillment of God's promises to Elam. Because the final chapter has not yet been written.